Hello there, Tanya Gustafson here, your nutritionist and fitness coach with Fit Nutrition. Welcome back to another episode of Fit Nutrition Podcast. They say everything happens for a reason, and that's exactly what Kerry Engel said as we rounded out and left off in the first half of that amazing interview. So if you missed that, if you missed part one of Kerry Engel's journey, her story, please go back and watch that. It is amazing. You are going to get some wonderful tips and just get some hope if you've been overwhelmed, if you've been stuck, if you've been living in pain, if you've been having inflammation, all the things. You need to go back and watch that. But do join us today as we go back and finish off the rest of our interview with Kerry Engel. So here we go. Without further ado, we're going to hop back in and finish off the rest of the podcast. And there's a reason that you're here watching this today.
Everything does happen for a reason. And since then, I've still been working on it. It's still a work in progress to this day but I've had some huge emotional releases with the work I've been doing with the horses, and it's been, I started back to Pilates once a physio Pilates to help my ankle get better. And so I've been actually doing that. I don't know, I guess it was about 10 weeks after I broke my ankle that I started back to that. So it's been an ongoing thing. So, but even the Pilates, I do hip stretches and start crying for no reason. And I didn't know why. And it's just like, I had to apologize. I'm so sorry. But it's because we do trap that stuff in our bodies. And that's since that happened with my broken leg and sitting with my emotions and stuff, I did stick to the PFCs throughout that too. Like I wasn't just sitting around binge eating or anything.
Right.
I was keeping my mind busy and doing, some online courses and stuff because I like to be busy. But yeah, it forced me to look at the emotional stuff and
you
and
did
since
some work
then,
on yourself while you were on
yes,
the couch.
yes,
Right?
yeah.
So when you first started, you started with all the physical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You stepped up for yourself, right? We showed up
Yeah.
for yourself. You did all the physical stuff. But a lot of times people don't want to deal with the emotional or mental stuff,
Yeah.
or they don't really realize it sometimes
Yeah. Yeah.
until something sort of, something twigs. And then it's like, oh, there's all this other part over here that I need to deal with as well, too. And when
Mm-hmm.
you do that, now you can start showing up for yourself
Mm-hmm.
emotionally as well, too. And then it
Yeah.
all comes together. So we can keep all of those 6 plates up.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And it all just kind of came together. And then, um, you know, the PFC thing, that's how I used to eat. And I needed that help from you just to remind myself of the old style and just give me that boost to say I can do it. And, yeah. And I mean, it's still an ongoing process. I've lost another 15 or so pounds since. So I initially over the winter and stuff, when I started, I lost about 15 to 20 pounds in there. And then I kind of stalled out, and that's when I got, and then I broke my leg, and then, things happened. But yeah, and I've lost another about 15 or more pounds now. And so I'm finally from my extra larges down back into my large size clothing. And it's more for me, it's about feeling better and more energy. And, my stomach's flatter now, and I have more energy to do that stuff. But I also have realized I need to give myself the rest.
Yeah.
And I can go work out outside all day long for 8 hours straight if I really want to. But then I'm putting myself back into that fight, flight, freeze thing where my body's just go, 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 and I'm not giving a rest.
Yeah.
And so I've been more conscious of that, and still active, still I'm getting back to hiking and walking now, and I'm able to do probably about 4K now on my ankle.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm getting back to it. I'm hoping to get back to the 6.5K loop, in the next month or two before the snow flies. But yeah, it's been a process, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much better. And yeah, I mean, I have my granny shirt on, but like, yeah, my clothes are getting quite loose, and which is great. I'm happy about that. I feel more confident in myself, whereas before I just felt heavy and bloated and almost like water retention all the time. And I was
Yeah.
just like, remember the brain fog I had? And I've been struggling with brain fog for
Yes.
so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally come to the point where it's lightening up. I get it occasionally, as I say, when I have a food that's, more inflammatory and stuff, that brain fog comes back. But the detoxification process has been so helpful with that. Whereas I feel before I felt like my memory, I just couldn't remember anything. And I have my moments still, but it's so much more improved.
That's good.
Um, yeah, I mean, I was to the point where I was losing words. I couldn't even talk anymore. Like it just,
My goodness.
yeah, like, well, sometimes, I still do that, like right now when I'm thinking about it, but um, it's gotten way better. Like I'm not searching as much for the words, and I'm not just in that constant fog. Um, yeah, where I just feel like I want to go to sleep and I just don't know how I'm going to get through the day. I
Yeah.
don't have that afternoon lull anymore. Actually, the afternoons is now when I have a lot of energy.
Nice.
Um,
I like that.
so yeah,
So you no
yeah, and
longer
that
need caffeine to get you going in the morning, and you have
no,
energy in the afternoon.
yes,
Huge
yeah.
win. Huge win.
The odd time I do have caffeine now, I find that I crave, that's when I crave sugar in the afternoon after I have that caffeine. And that's when I start getting that lull where I'm get really tired probably about 4 to 5 hours after the caffeine, I get really tired.
Yeah.
So I've just decided, you know what, it's not worth it.
Oh,
And sometimes we need to have those things to remind ourselves why we don't have them anymore, right?
right.
And it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
never about, oh, you can't ever have this. It's now a
yeah,
choice. Like you were saying, like
yes.
you realize that I don't like the way I feel over there. So
Hmm.
I'm just gonna avoid that.
Yeah,
I do that all the time. And you just do have so much more energy and feel so much better.
yeah.
So looking forward now, from where you were, where you started, as
Hmm.
compared to now, like if you didn't start, what would life look like 5 years ahead now as compared to what it would be like because you started 5 years from now?
Like what would it look like if I hadn't
If you
done
hadn't done
the fit
anything, if you
nutrition
had just,
program?
yeah, if you hadn't started, yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd still be, just in that brain fog and just trying to fight against myself almost. And that I'd just be, I think I'd just be still in that lull of having to take medication to feel better and to, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I'm 43 now, and I'm not getting younger. So I think it would have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah.
And with my family history, with my parents both passing away earlier, and from both with a stroke, and the diabetes in our family, the just everything, I know I would have just gotten sicker and sicker and sicker. Where would the fibromyalgia have taken me? Would I have been in a wheelchair if I didn't like if I kept going down that road? I don't know, because I know that can happen where you just get so inflamed and you know um
It's debilitating.
yeah, it is the pain, and my mental health suffered from the pain too. Like where would my mental health be in 5 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say that. Like I'd almost be scared to think about that. And you don't even want to go there, because
Yeah.
having a husband and son, that brain inflammation really causes, like, it is, I can look back now and say that the inflammation around my brain and stuff was part of my depression and in the past, and that whole eating component. with the carbohydrates and those inflammatory foods. Like not only is it important to eat more balanced, it's also what we're eating to put in. You can eat balanced and still be putting crap into your body.
Absolutely. Yes, you can, for sure.
And that's what people forget, like even like I've gone to more organic vegetables, more organic stuff. And I have actually, I was going to mention earlier, but I've done an experiment with the eggs, where I've tried different kinds of eggs, like duck eggs, quail and stuff. And I've realized that the difference is that eating a fresh chicken egg does not have the histamines as a 60-day-old chicken egg that's been sitting in the grocery store. And that's when I'm like, oops, that egg was way too old that I ate. And that's the difference between, fueling your body and just kind of surviving, right? And putting this stuff in, but you're still getting the chemicals, you're still getting the sprays that are on them. You're still adding to that chemical load in your body. And so I know it's a little bit more expensive to eat organic, but really is it? Because in the end, where does it pay off? You might save a couple bucks now, but in 5 years, where are those chemicals going to be in your body?
Exactly. Especially if there's other underlying conditions that you have.
Well, yeah, and it affects our hormones.
Yes, and your hormones, it just wreaks havoc on everything.
Yeah, and when you're having hormone issues already, why are we adding to it with all this stuff? Even I like, it's come down to, I've changed my shampoos, my soaps, my like personal care products. My clothing, that's been a tough one. Clothing, because our skin is permeable. We everything we touch, everything we,
it's our
it's all
largest
chemicals.
organ is our skin.
Exactly.
So what we put on counts.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people don't realize as well too. And so, I mean, that can come under our nutrition plate. It can come under our stress plate.
Yes. Yeah.
It can come under either one, right? And so I'm just really thankful that, you have one step led to the other, led to the other, led to the other. It is a domino effect. Once you start doing something for your health and you commit to that 1% and you keep going, keep stepping, the other things tend to want to show up because now you're looking for them.
Yes. Yeah, like laundry detergent. We just, like you get into the habit, you use whatever laundry detergent, you get in the habit of using fabric softener. And like I actually cut that out quite a while ago now, was fabric softener and the detergents and stuff like that, and making sure that I had a healthier detergent. I think when you become a mom too, you think about what you're putting on your child's body and stuff too. You're more conscious of that. You'll do it for them, but you won't do it for yourself. So
that's a huge point with the moms. And that comes back to the whole self-care is not selfish thing.
It does. Yeah.
They're watching us.
They are.
And we don't want them to learn all of these bad non-self-care habits when they get older, because it's just going to perpetuate that cycle of, beating themselves down unintentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good for you that you found that, because your little guy's little. So he's what, 5?
Yeah, he just turned 5 in August. So, and he's pretty observant. And and I've realized lately that I've made the mistake of like doing my exercise and workouts and stuff away from him instead of doing it with him and letting him see me sweat and work out. And because I can tell him, I went to Pilates, I had a good workout, I did this and that, but if he doesn't see it, then he doesn't know. So, and that's another factor. And that's what I'm going to try and bring in now. Like as I say, I'm still the work in progress. I still have more weight I'd like to lose, and more like I'm good now, but how much better could I be in the next year?
Love that. I love that.
Like I just want to push myself to get better and better. I want the fibromyalgia pain, instead of being even a 2 out of 10, I want it to be gone.
Yeah.
I want to be movable again and not have sore joints in the morning when I wake up, after I've done a hard day's digging outside or whatever. and so I'm still a work in progress for sure. But knowing now and being able to come back to your guides and your recipes and just having your support has been, I mean, yeah, it's just been even just keeping me accountable. That's been part of it, right? Because I mean, hey, I've slacked off on the journaling. I slacked off on because you just get busy with life. I feel like I can't keep up with everything sometimes. But knowing that it's as simple as having a protein, a bit of a carb, and the fats and stuff in there. It's an easy combination. I don't calorie count. I don't beat myself up of say, hey, you know what? We want pizza for dinner tonight. Why can't I have a salad and one slice of pizza? That's not like gluten-free, of course. That's
Well, of course,
because I
because you're
can't.
allergic to gluten, right? But yeah.
Yeah. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't beat myself up anymore and say, oh, that's so bad for me. I can't have that one thing. But you know what? I don't eat pizza every day. I don't eat that stuff every day. I think that's the balance part. And that's the slippery slope too that I have to watch is because you think, oh, I'll just have it today. And then, oh, you know what? I was able to handle that. I could have some more tomorrow or the next day, and oh, maybe again in a few days. And so that's that slippery slope that I need to be accountable for is, yeah, not going down there of, oh, it's just once, it's just twice, it's just three times. And then you're back into that cycle of eating those high inflammatory foods all the time instead of just once in a while. So that's the key for me that I need to definitely balance that out. So yeah.
Yeah. And the check and balance for that is really if we can plan our off-plan meals, right? We can plan our celebration meals or the family pizza night or whatever it is, then we know that's happening. We don't tend to backslide to go to it because we know it's coming. We're going to have it on Friday or Saturday or whatever the day is, right?
Yeah.
We know that's happening. And then having those other things in place, because I know you cook extra, so you have some for lunch the next day, and having a few of those things in place so that, if life happens a little bit and throws us a little bit of a curveball, we have some tools in the toolbox already, or we have some food in the fridge, or we have a plan because we've done it, right? We've invested, we've shown up for ourselves, we've done the work. Okay. So even when life happens, it's just a short little blip or a short little detour as opposed to, oh my gosh, we're starting all over again.
Yeah. Normally I would have beaten myself up for having that piece of pizza or, the piece of cake at my son's birthday party, but it was one piece of pizza. It's one piece of cake.
And
it's
that should never be the thing. We should never feel horrible for enjoying our son's birthday, like ever.
Exactly. But I made sure that there was healthy choices of vegetables, and just like we're going camping this weekend and, we've planned our meals and stuff. So I make sure that I have, I'm going to have a veggie tray ready there for the weekend so I can munch on that when I want something. Or, and make sure like I have meat as my main, in my meals and stuff. And then I have a higher protein snack for in between. I got my, as I say, my Fit 20, I have that in my coffee and stuff.
Take
and then
my shake wherever I go to because it's just so handy when you don't have something.
Yeah, and if I need to mix it up with some coconut milk for an afternoon, instead of having a smoothie while we're camping, I don't want to be packing all that stuff. You know what? I can mix it up into some coconut milk, whatever. It's good. And
makes really
that's
good
that.
pudding.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Actually, I've added it to a lot of stuff because because of the oatmeal affecting me, I sometimes have a quinoa oatmeal that I make. So I actually add the protein powder to that. And so that's another breakfast alternative that I have. But again, I only have that once in a while because it's not an everyday day thing. But so we got stuff planned and just keep on going. I might have a s'more in there. I don't know. Might have a marshmallow, but
there you go.
It's, but it's the difference in the marshmallows that I get. It's, the more natural ones now that my son loves, and, have one, not have 10.
Right.
So
Yeah, you don't have to finish the bag because you opened it, right? Like that
Exactly.
sort of idea.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
now that you've got sugar cravings under control,
Yeah.
you can do that. And you take your protein with
Exactly.
you, so you have it. And so then that becomes part of your carb. And it just,
Hmm.
that's how we do life now.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah.
have been doing life in the first place without beating ourselves up and trying to, just
Exactly.
not eat anything that we thought was going to be bad for us. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, just all heck breaks loose, right?
Yeah. 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 And it's really about balance. And that's really what your program has reminded me of and taught me again, because I was in a place of overwhelm and I needed help. And yeah.
Well, I'm just so glad.
And
So if you
yeah,
had like,
hey, I'm thankful.
if you had one tip for somebody or one takeaway from this, what would you say for people? Your final thoughts.
My final thoughts would be the way you eat your food is so important. And I've realized that I eat my protein first, then I eat like my vegetables and fats and stuff, and then I'll have a bit of carb. And and then I find I don't want as much carbs, and I feel like that's like when I am hungry and stuff, it's like have stuff on hand you can grab quickly.
Mhm.
So you don't have to sit there and then you're going to go to the chips or to the easy stuff or to the sweets and stuff. Have stuff on hand that's there, even if it's a bag of like better made, you know, sorry, I just had a phone call coming in. A better made pepperoni, like a higher quality pepperoni stick. You
Right.
know what? Grab that first, eat that protein first, and then see how you feel. Have
Yeah.
a drink of water, because when we interrupt that emotional eating and that craving, you're rewriting your nervous system and you're rewriting your that brain signal. So that those have been my catalysts that have really helped get me on track, and to help me continue even past all that frustration of the no weight loss and those lulls that I had. Um, that's what got me through it. So yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
thank you.
yeah.
Those
Thank you.
was wonderful, wonderful tips. And I
Yeah,
just thank you so much for sharing your story here with us today and for joining me. And you were always part of the Fit family, always always there.
yeah,
So you're stuck with me now. We're here.
yeah. I'll be checking up and checking in, and just so I can hold a bit of accountability, because
Yeah.
that's yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If
And we
I
love
know, I know you'll kick my butt if in a
and I want
nice
to keep
way, but
hearing how it keeps going. I want to hear about that progress and
yeah,
you know what? We'll need to do another one of these when you get that 6.5 kilometers done, or when you get back to jogging or whatever, and see your progress, because
yeah,
I just love that. And that you're always looking ahead. You're like, I'm good now, but I want to be better.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Like, don't give up. We can do it.
no,
We got this. Like
health is always
I
evolving.
deserve it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do. Well, great.
Yeah, and I have to thank you. There has been the lulls in the past and stuff, and I messed up. I ate stuff I wasn't supposed to, and you were always so uh supportive even through that, because I knew you knew where I was at with stuff, and I never felt like I had to hide, if I messed up, or if you were always so supportive throughout that. And you're like, yeah, but how can, so how can we make that better? Right. And that's what I loved. It's like when I needed it, you stepped in, and it was, yeah, yeah. That
Oh,
accountability and that just having that support it took that overwhelm down so much, just to know that I had, yeah, somebody to soundboard off of and to, yeah, go to with my questions and problems. And yeah, it was good. So
well,
thank
thank you
you.
so much. I am just
Appreciate
super
it.
excited for your results so far, and I look forward
Yeah.
to hearing the rest in the future coming up.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us here on Fit Nutrition Podcast today. I love this. What a super exciting episode. So give Kerry a good shout out down there in the comments when you're watching this. And I'd love to hear your tips and takeaways from this after you watched. And see you next time on Fit Nutrition Podcast. Thanks for joining.